In Greek and Roman mythology, a harpy was a half-human and half-bird personification of the winds of a storm. They were generally depicted as birds with the heads of maidens, faces pale, with hunger and long claws on their hands. The nature and temperament of harpies has long been argued over. The harpies were originally seen as wind spirits, beautiful personifications of the destructive force of nature itself. Their name means snatchers or swift robbers, and they were said to steal food from their victims while they're eating and carry evildoers away to their lair. When a person suddenly disappeared from the earth, it was said that he had been carried off by harpies. Thus, they carried off the daughters of King Pandarus and gave them as servants to the Erinyes. In this form, they were agents of punishment who abducted people and tortured them on their way to Tartarus. Some say that they were cruel, vicious, and violent. Perhaps the most celebrated story in which the harpies play a part is that of King Phineus of Thrace, who was given the gift of prophecy by Zeus. Angry that Phineus gave away the god's secret plan, Zeus punished him by blinding him and putting him on an island with a buffet of food which he could never eat, because the harpies always arrived to steal the food out of his hands before he could satisfy his hunger. Later, writers add that they either devoured the food themselves, or that they dirtied it by dropping it upon some stinking substance or the dirt, so as to render it unfit to be eaten. This continued until the arrival of Jason and the Argonauts. Phineus promised to instruct them respecting the course that they had to take, if they would deliver him from the harpies. The Boreads, son of Boreas, the north wind, who could also fly, succeeded in driving off the harpies. According to an ancient oracle, the harpies were to perish by the hands of the Boreads, but the latter were to die if they could not overtake the harpies. The latter fled, but one fell into the river Tigris, which was hence called Harpis, and the other reached the Echinades. And as she never returned, the islands were called Strophides. But being worn out with fatigue, she fell down simultaneously with her pursuer, and, as they promised to no further molest Phineus, the two harpies were not deprived of their lives. According to others, the Boreads were on the point of killing the harpies when Iris or Hermes appeared and commanded the conquerors to set them free, promising that Phineus would not be bothered by the harpies again. The dogs of great Zeus then returned to their cave in Minio Crete. Other accounts said that both the harpies as well as the Boreads died. Thankful for their help, Phineus told the Argonauts how to pass the Symplegades. Tzetzes explained the origin of the myth pertaining to Phineus, the harpies, and the Boreads in his account. In this late version of the myth, it was said that Phineus, due to his old age, became blind, and he had two daughters named Erasia and Harperea. These maidens lived a very libertine and lazy life, abandoning themselves to poverty and fatal famine. Then Zetes and Kylais snatched them away somehow, and they disappeared from those places ever since. From this account, all myths about the harpies were born, according to Apollonius in his own story of the Argonauts. In more modern retelling of the legendary ladies, the Harpy race is a monogender demi-human race with the body of a human and the wings and talons of a bird. They are known only to colonize mountainsides and similar places. In these modern accounts, they are a pure and cheerful race that loves the blue sky and singing. However, most of the time, they can only be found singing for other harpies. These modern harpies are migratory beings and a race that embodies the notion of freedom, going where they please, when they please. Being similar in nature to migratory birds, harpies psychologically cannot stay in one place for very long. Modern harpies have a clawed opposable digit on the joint of each wing, and the wing at the joint has a palm which can curl to some degree. This allows for the gripping of objects, but these improvised grabbers are nowhere near as dexterous as true hands. Since all harpies hatch from eggs, there's a possibility that the clawed opposable digits serve to help them crack open the inside of their eggshells when they hatch, as harpies don't have beaks like traditional birds do. Modern harpies are monogendered and rely on the humans to reproduce. Unlike most such modern demi-human monster races, harpies do not simply abduct men for this purpose. Rather, they travel about and find men before returning to the village to lay their eggs after mating, sometimes even finding multiple partners in a single outing to encourage genetic diversity. Despite this, some harpies will occasionally choose a mate for life and will either move to be with them or continually return when their migration routes them back around. In these modern accounts of harpies, there are a variety of subspecies. These include poultry, land animal, raptor, owl, Garuda, and more. Poultry harpies are a harpy subspecies adapted for laying eggs. They cannot fly and are unable to run at high speeds like the land animal harpies. However, they produce far more eggs than the other subspecies, and they continuously lay eggs nearly every day. Poultry harpies generally have a red crest on top of their heads. Unlike chickens, their appearance is natural, not selectively bred. They are very cowardly, or some might say, chicken. Land animal harpies are a subspecies of harpy adapted for terrestrial life, like ostriches or emus. Their wings are usually small, but their bodies have evolved to be larger than a human's. Using their thick, powerful legs, they can run at incredibly high speeds. Despite their large bodies and sharp claws, they are generally easygoing in nature. These harpies typically have slight frames, but are nearly twice the size of other harpies, making them quite tall. Their wings would be a little more dexterous than a common harpy's, as they do not have large pinions to obstruct movement. Raptor harpies are a large eagle or hawk-like harpy subspecies. Their bodies are very similar to human bodies. Though other subspecies are omnivorous, raptor harpies are strictly carnivores. They are proud and difficult to please, an unusual trait among the generally amicable harpies. They have patterned plumage, such as found on hawks or owls, and do not have the giddy colors of common harpies or the simple uniform tones of land animal harpies. Raptor harpy wings are more angled than common harpy wings, and are more adapted to swooping and cornering. As raptor harpies are purely carnivorous, their increased protein intake leads to their bodies being fuller and far less juvenile in appearance. Raptor harpies commonly have very long pinions, and these would likely make them even less dexterous than common harpies. As hunters, raptor harpies are strong and proud, and are not easily impressed by other harpies. Being a predator takes a degree of cunning and consistent knowledge of the terrain and situation, so raptor harpies would be the most intelligent of the harpy species, though that doesn't necessarily mean that they're particularly smart by human standards. Owl harpies are a nocturnal species. Owl harpies have excellent night vision. They also become more active after sunset, and seem to be much more intelligent than their airheaded cousins. Finally, the Garuda are a large harpy subspecies prevalent in Hindu mythology. Regarded by Hindu lore as the king of all birds and the mount of the supreme god Vishnu, Garuda are considered the strongest of the harpy subspecies and are known for their eternal animosity with the Naga serpent race. It is currently unknown how related the Harpy race is to the Yadagaraso and the Phoenix races, both of which are similar non-human races, with the former having crow-themed wings and plumage. Despite being called bird wings, harpy wings are generally more similar to the wings of other dinosaurs. For example, land animal harpies lack true dinosaurian wings entirely, having arms like an alvarosaurid. Another example would be that raptor harpies appear to lack an outer wing, whereas normal harpies have it, but smaller and without primaries. They also lack humerus feathers. Poultry harpies also appear to have a large opposable digit, which may be a fusion of the digits on a regular harpy. Another thing is that no harpies have feathered allulas, excluding the down on a raptor harpy's wing claws, which may actually attach to the wrist, unlike birds. They also appear to have the traits of entirely non-avian reptiles, such as two-part scaly legs. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the subscribe button and leave a like for even more Monster Girl files and Monster Girl related content. Monster hunting isn't easy, but somebody's gotta do it.